Warning! The following podcast contains strong language which some listeners may find offensive. If you do,
Up yours! That's only if you don't listen to the podcast. Otherwise, not up yours.
did you know the Untitled Wrestling podcast is on all of the social media outlets? Give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, or even a review if you're feeling generous. Facebook and YouTube at Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Twitter, Twitch and Discord at Untitled Rest Pod.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. It is Tuesday, it's actually Tuesday this week, we're not lying. You know what that means, it's me, your boy Big Tasty, joined by, as always, Jay and Faye. Faye, what's up with you, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. I'm just getting excited for like all the upcoming stuff, like All In, Japan, all that good stuff.
All In feels like so much more tangible now, doesn't it? Now that we're the other side of Forbidden Door, it feels like we can almost like feel it. Yeah. So I can't wait for that. Jay, how's it going? How are you?
Yes. My brain's mush from like editing for the last 2 days.
Yeah. So this might be I'm saying that this might be a slightly shorter podcast this week because I don't know there's a great amount to talk about, but we're not just giving you on content. We've all been doing our matches for the first half of 2023. Jay's been recording and uploading them all to YouTube, so please go do and check them out. We're doing them separately this year because there's just too many of us. So everyone's doing their own video, much like we did with All In, and Jay's doing.
I like that though.
Jay's doing a future unannounced project.
Da-da-da.
I am.
Yeah, Jay's just a master of eking out weekly, like one a day videos now. You're the king.
I'm so tired.
You look so like spaced out of it as well. Like
considering that this is your week off work, you look like so overworked.
Yeah, it's because I thought, oh yeah, I'll get it all done like over the weekend, and then it's just
no
not
one
happening.
did this on the weekend.
Well, me and Tasty did ours on Friday, Aaron did his on Saturday, Ryan decided I don't want to do one, so that was sound. And then I did yours on Monday, so that was alright, because I was like, oh yeah, that's the last one. And I've still not got a straight answer out of Troy on when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So it might be out on Friday, it might not, who knows.
Speaking of speculative nonsense, should we start off this week with a bit of backyard wrestling?
Yes, absolutely.
So last week was the annual 4th of July extravaganza, which for GCW means backyard wrestling. They went to someone's house. It was one of the wrestlers on the show, wasn't it? It was
ECW legend and folklore from a Twitch stream me and Aaron did. Legend 911, aka I think it was called Big Al in WCW. And he had the fabled skins match where Tank Abbott tried to cut his throat after the match.
Yes. So this took place on his like farm, basically.
On his farm, yeah.
But his son was also wrestling.
His son Big Vin is like the ring crew for GCW, so occasionally he does wrestle too.
Yeah.
Also, there was a tiny child there.
There was a lot of kids there, like more than usual.
It was so dangerous, like right at the start, because they had like a big like paddling pool at the side of the ring, and at the start there was just like some kid in the pool, and then like about 40 minutes later, Matt Tremont just did a spot into the pool. Like, I'm really glad that kid's not there anymore.
Natalia had like a small attack watching that. She was like, someone move that kid now.
There was a bit where like the kid was on the trampoline and someone went to do a move onto it, and I was like you didn't even see if he moved the kid. I was like, I hope he did.
If not, he's in space.
A couple of things I really enjoyed about the show. One, all the entrance music was on point. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was.
Two, everyone was just fucked out of their minds. Like, as we said,
everyone was so high.
Nick Gage was like so Sarah was like, why is why does the cameraman keep missing all the big spots? I'm like, because he's fucking baked. Like
Because there's a cloud of marijuana smoke above the fucking
Nick Gage can
ring.
barely talk.
Nick Gage was more like one of the more coherent people on this show,
and that
which tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah,
MLJ was smashed by the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, as you say, he just had to like step away from commentary because he just couldn't talk by the end of the show. It was absolutely incredible. Thankfully, as far as I'm aware, all of the performers were sober.
Yeah,
but we had a couple of really good matches. There was some grade A nonsense, which is obviously what we're here for. We had the return of Vampiro, one of my favorites.
Yeah, AK Prasad.
That was, I don't want to know who they really are. The Vampiro. That's all I need to know. We had.
I mean, his gimmick's basically the same thing. I think just for legal reasons, he can't call himself Vampiro on the indies.
We had Pizza Cat Jr., aka Billy Starks.
We got the return of the Chad. We
did
get the return of the Chad.
The Chad
he didn't have his Mass Effect gear on though, which upset me.
We had so there was like a triple threat match at the start, which I like how it like. They always start with like a fairly technical wrestling match, and then it just sort of devolves into nonsense over the course of the show.
Yeah.
So
I said this to Nat. She was like, "This is meant to be wild." I was like, "Wait."
You got to warm the crowd up. Wait till they've had a few hot dogs and a few blunts.
Yeah, I mean, Ace Wide got dropped on his head more times than I've ever seen a man get dropped on his head.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he can actually walk after the amount of like times he just got dumped on his neck.
I can't remember who the guy was called, but the guy who Jimmy Lloyd was wrestling. Sorry,
Eminon.
Ariel
Crow.
He took the worst bump I've ever seen.
There was some awful bumps just in general, like throughout the night. My God.
When he got crucifix powerbomb onto the side of the paddling pool and then had to like...
Oh, no, that was horrific.
and then had to get into position because he was meant to so there was a table set up in the paddling pool and Jimmy was meant to crucifix powerbomb him out the ring through the table, but he missed and like powerbombed him onto like the rim of the paddling pool.
And it was on fire as well.
So then while he was in like incredible pain, he then had to move himself onto the table so that Jimmy Lloyd could splash him out the ring.
Yeah. Well, he did like a suicide dive through the table.
Yeah.
Just all of Jimmy Lloyd just hit him.
Who got through off the it was the guy Janela thought who got thrown off the...
It was the Dilf that got thrown off the roof.
He did not hit a lot of that table.
It wasn't a table, it was the ball pit.
Oh, the ball. Yeah, sorry, he did not hit a lot of that ball pit. He
hit like the inflatable edge and then it burst and then he just ate shit.
Yeah.
And right, did you notice like in the first bit as well, like of the thing when they were talking about that ball pit, they were already like way past fucked on commentary. They were like, it needs to be filled with light tubes, and it's like, we're the second match in, please calm down.
So do you know what the show in particular gave me huge energy of? Like, you know when like you have like a kid's birthday party and then like 9 o'clock all the dads are just fucking wankered and they're like jumping onto like bouncy castles and like really hurting themselves, but they're so hammered they just don't care.
Yeah.
Yes. Big time.
I'd love to see that, like, I'd love to see backyard wrestling, but just in someone's, like, regular-sized backyard in the UK. Like, just do that.
I mean, what else did we have? We had... I'm trying to remember.
There was the Scramble.
Scramble was really good. I enjoyed that.
I'll go through the card, like, chronologically, just so we can kind of, like... So we had the triple threat, which was the Chad defeating Ace Wide and Drake Brayler. Dark Angel defeated Mark Angel in a loser leaves the yard match.
Yes, I love that.
That match was mad. That was so good.
And it was great because Dark Angel was played by Marcus Mathers, whose tag partner Dylan McKay is Ariel Crow, and he did one of their tag team like double team moves. He was like, "Where's Ariel Crow? Where's Ariel Crow?" And it just appeared out of nowhere. That's how you moonsault. Pete Cat Jr. defeated Charlie Cactus, which was fun. Mayday Jack, which was Cole Radrick, friend of the podcast, defeated Big Vin, Deshaun, Lucky, Matt Awesome, and Vampiro. Matt Awesome was Matt Tremont, and Deshaun was billed as like the son of the Chad.
Yeah,
because El Higo del Chad.
Deshaun came out to awesome music as well. I can't remember what it was.
There was a couple that came out of really good music, and I like couldn't pick it up because Nick Gage was like talking over it when I was trying to Shazam it.
It's like they do
Sorry, that's Nicky.
On Botchamania they do like the insane Dusty commentary. It was like that because with Nick Gage.
Yeah, I reckon Nick Gage had the strike before this. He was fucking well chatty at one point.
Yeah.
Shit and bollocks. Then we had best 2 out of 3 ultraviolet doors death match, which was Eminem defeating Ariel Crow. Then we had the 10-man, which was Alex Smith, Bergie the Mobster, which was Cheeseburger, Claude Morrow Jr., Haystack Steve, which was one called Manders, and Landscaper, which I think might have been the 4th of July blunt guy from last year.
He's always around. He's never far.
He's like a mythical being, like the Techno Viking.
Encrypted.
I love that every time they said Landscaper, like Nick Gage was just like, was just like howling, laughing, going, he was like, oh yeah, that's really cracking me up, Emma J. And just like giggling to himself. They defeated BKT Killer, Cambodian Dragon, Charlie Tiger, Jordan Oliver, and Tara Zepp, which basically Young Dumb broke with Yo-Yo, and I don't know who Tara Zepp is, which looked cool. We then got JJ Allen defeating Tarzan Duran, which just seeing JJ Allen gave me PTSD from when me and Aaron watched Backyard Wrestling too. And yeah,
was that the match of the Weed Whacker?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was upsetting.
The Weed Whacker and the door with firecrackers on.
Yeah.
Oh,
the chair with the firecrackers on, which was still like exploding as he was hitting them with it. Yeah, that was upsetting. And yeah, Joey Janela defeated the Dilf in a hair versus hair match where the Dilf just took horrific bumps for like 20, 30 minutes.
And then got his head shaved. So when we were watching that match, like, because they didn't mention it was hair versus hair for like the entire match, and then like the match finished, and Sarah was like, "Was that hair versus hair?" And then like Joey Janela just grabbed some clippers and started shaving the guy's head, and like, "Oh yeah, I guess it was."
Yeah, there was a really cool spot where what's his name?
I think the main reason why they didn't mention the step was because by the time we got to the main event, no one knew what day it was.
No, no, that was the only like pre-announced match as well.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's got a little mystery vortex vibe, hasn't it? Because even like I went on Cage Match to see what was on, and there's only like 3 matches listed as like being on.
Yeah, they only usually announce like 1, maybe 2 matches before the show.
They barely announced everybody that was competing as well, like only certain people.
Yeah. Well, they've got to find these legends of the yard.
Because the Billy Starks match got announced beforehand.
Who?
The Pizza Cat.
Pizza Cat Jr. How do you know that's Billy Starks? They're wearing a mask.
That's
I've never seen Pizza Cat and Billy Starks in the same place. So.
Nope, me either. Pizza Cat Jr. did take a one-winged angel into the paddling pool.
Yeah.
Off the apron. And I think my favorite bit was when Mayday Jack hit a dive off like a fucking tractor into the ring through a door.
Is that when he got on like the sort of like the little lip forklift thing and got it lifted up? Yeah.
But he got lifted up really fucking high.
Yeah, it reminded me of like that Joe Janela spot he did with the scissor lift in Jersey.
Yeah.
Which was that was rad as hell. So Backyard Wrestling and behind us for another year. It's a highlight of the year, isn't it? It's always a fun show and it rolls around. I mean,
for 2 years running, it's been the Untitled Wrestling Podcast's show of the year. I imagine it'll probably get the third.
We shouldn't let people vote on these things.
No.
Aaron and Ryan would like gaslight it if we didn't. it would find a way.
GCW Backyard finds a way.
It's so upsetting that wins like every year. I mean, I love it. It's a really fun show. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy it, but like, come the fuck on.
It's like the whole like Dolph Ziggler winning underdog and wrestler of the year as well.
Don't worry about it.
So upsetting. Right, moving on. Should we talk before we get into AEW? Should we talk a little Nuge because there was some big Nuge action over the last week?
Yeah, there was 2 big shows from New Japan Strong actually.
I'm gonna restrain myself and not talk too much about Eddie Kingston winning the New Japan Strong World Championship.
I mean,
you can go off. I
that
don't
was
mind.
that was the one of the bigger matches. There was a couple of title changes as well, as that, which was the Bullet Club War Dogs basically cleaning house of the tag team division.
It was so good, wasn't it?
Coughlin and Gabe Kidd defeated Bishamon to win the Strong Openweight Tag Championships. Couldn't do the repeat the next day to win the IWGP Tag Team Championships though. And Driller and Clark Connors defeated Catch 2-2.
What a team that is!
Defeat. Yeah.
Clark Connors' new Bullet Club gear is amazing.
The finish is just essentially they like hit spears from either side and just like impale. Yeah, just like leaving a guy. And yeah, they became the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, even though Clark Connors and Driller are definitely not junior heavyweights. They are built like brick shit houses.
Yeah.
Well, Dan Maloney is the beast of the Super Juniors, as he's calling himself now, which I love.
Yeah.
They made a big like thing as well about the fact that Dan Maloney's only been with New Japan for 2 months. He's already won a belt.
And he got the pin as well.
And he got the pin. And basically they just crimed Catch 2-2.
Which is fine.
And then Driller was humping the belt and wiping his ass with it and swinging it round and all that.
And then he crimed Leon Slater as well this weekend.
Did he? That's upsetting.
At Rev Pro.
After Will Ospreay hit him with the Tiger Driver 93.
Yeah.
I was going to say it was Ospreay who faced Slater, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then Driller came in and did murder on him afterwards.
Are they going to do Driller versus Leon at Rev Pro when I go?
Because Ospreay was like, "This is how I get to Driller for what he did to United Empire."
I don't think Driller gives a fuck anymore.
He did really. He's like, yeah, whatever. Watch.
Leon isn't a war dog. He doesn't give a fuck. Leon's just a boy, an innocent boy.
Just a normal boy.
Yeah. And the main event of that show, there was a couple of other things, but it was basically just stop building up to the next day.
We talk about title changes. Got to talk about Julia beating Willow.
Yeah,
well, I was going to get to that. I was just finishing up with the first day thing first, which was Jun Kasai and El Desperado defeating John Moxley and Homicide in a Doomsday no DQ match. Which
this match was fucking insane.
The fact that the crowd just kept chanting Kasai for the whole fucking match, and Mox was a mess.
Fighting through the crowd.
Yeah, it was his New Japan debut.
Nice.
Normally he works through Freedoms. There was a bit of history in this match as well. That in 2005, I think it was, he said, Jun Kasai and Homicide had a match at the Korakuen Hall, and Jun Kasai broke his leg by getting thrown off the balcony by Homicide. So
you know what, right?
Out for blood.
This match, where they kept going up to the crowd, I was like, are they going to go? I know no one's allowed up there, allowed to do balcony spots, but they kept going further up through the crowd, and I was like,
they were teasing it throughout the show. That's because Jun Kasai broke his leg. That's the reason why there's no balcony spots in here.
I thought it was Kota Ibushi. Oh no, Kota Ibushi just banned from Korakuen Hall, isn't he?
He's just not allowed in there because they know he'll jump off a fucking balcony.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a bit as well where Jun Kasai had kept pulling out a fucking straight razor. And he'd cut Homicide or Mox with it. And he just lashed it over his shoulder a couple of times
into the crowd. Yeah.
They call him the crazy monkey for a reason because he's a fucking lunatic.
I mean, someone's got to be the new Jack, haven't they? So.
Oh, mate.
The nude Jack.
As long as he's not
Jun
Kasai's as long as he's not gigging 65-year-old men.
Nah, Jun Kasai's chill New Jack, believe it or not. Because he can still have fun. He had that match with Effie last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. But
wasn't he labelled Effie's best kisser as well?
He was up there, yeah.
He said Mox was his best kisser, even though he tasted cigarettes.
Mox was top kisser. He tasted like an ashtray.
And his husband said Mox is the only man he's allowed to kiss, so that's not him.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fucking mental, this match. It really was. There was a fork board and that Despy got like thrown onto, and the
It was a
forks
metal
didn't bend.
fork board as well.
Oh
Like,
no!
it wasn't plastic.
Yeah, and parts of like the fork like snapped off into his back.
Yeah.
So he had to get them like removed after the match, which
Jesus Christ.
my favorite part, to be honest, about both like death matches on this show was Ian Riccaboni and Chris Charlton were commentating, and they were both having the worst time.
Yeah, they're like the
Specifically Chris
softest
Charlton.
boys, aren't they?
Riccaboni's used to it. He's seen some crazy shit in his time. I think he's commentating on GCW every now and again.
Yeah.
But then like Chris Charlton was like proper like puro fucking fanboy. He was just like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's so
and just
good.
like going every now and then.
He sounded disgusted, didn't he? Like genuinely horrified.
He sounded so upset the whole time. It was brilliant.
He was like, "What is he doing?"
Was it like when Moxie and Kenny had that deathmatch in AW, and like it was kind of tame for like deathmatch standards, but everyone was losing their goddamn mind because they've never seen anything like that before.
Kind of, but then a lot of the crowd seemed to be Freedoms fans anyway.
Oh, fair.
Because
Yeah.
they were like, and they had like a lot of the Freedoms crew like working ring crew to help with like some of the craziest shit. But it was just a case of them being like the commentators. And on the second day for Final Death, which was Mox and El Desperado, the commentary team was Tanahashi and Jun Kasai. And I've never seen Tanahashi look so uncomfortable as sitting next to Jun Kasai.
First day was Minoru Suzuki though, which was great.
Yeah, it was me, the granddad, who commentated the first day.
Nice.
He looked so happy after the match.
Yeah, he looked made up. And then Tanahashi just looked upset that all this shit was happening. Sat next to Jun Kasai, who's wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Amazing.
Looking chill as fuck. Yeah, we'll go to second day. There was a formation of a new tag team over the 2 days, which intrigued me, which was Lance Archer and Alex Zane.
Oh, nice.
Murder Sauce.
Yeah, like to see more Murder Sauce. And yeah, then we'll go to what you talking about, Tasty, the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Julia defeated Willow. It was a fantastic match, really was.
I need to see it. I haven't seen any of this, and I need to watch a lot of these matches.
Yeah, definitely try and watch the Clark Connors and Driller matches if you can. They had the match where they won them, and then the first defense the next day against Yo and Rocky Romero. Both were fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Julia Willow was awesome. It was really good. Julia's normally kind of like the powerhouse of Stardom because she's like a lot taller than some of the other women, and obviously not having the power advantage for once, it really threw her off a game. So she was just lamping Willow as hard as she could. Yeah, these two held nothing back. Really, really fun match. Would definitely recommend checking it out if possible. Yeah, then we'll go to the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. Eddie Kingston defeated Kenta to win the belt. This crowd was white hot for Eddie.
I mean, every crowd is white hot for Eddie. It's just the way, isn't it?
Can we just mention how we'd already had in night one a great tag match?
Oh, Eddie and Rocky.
Even though Eddie and Rocky versus
I haven't watched that yet. I literally kind of like cherry picked all the stuff that I was like, I really want to see that. I really want to see that. And just watched through it on Friday night when I had a bit of time free.
Like Gato was shit, obviously, but like fucking Eddie and Rocky are great together, and Kenta was just looked like an anime antagonist. It was great with his new hair.
Kenta hit Eddie harder than I've ever seen anyone hit Eddie and survive. Mm-hmm. There was a bit where so Kenta was trying to cheat throughout the whole match. He managed to like get a belt shot on Eddie by doing like a bait and switch because he had two belts at the time.
Oh yeah, he had the Defy belt, didn't he?
Yeah. So like the referee, Eddie got the belt, and instead of like using it like he was about to, he basically puts the belt on the outside, and then Kenta just gets to the Defy one and just lamps Eddie with it after low blowing him. I was like, all right, this is it. And Eddie kicks out, and then Kenta just palm striked Eddie to till like Eddie was basically like barely moving on the floor.
Well, did Kenta hit Eddie harder than Eddie hit Punk? That's the question.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. That's the hardest I've ever seen anybody hit anybody else, like in my entire life.
There was a palm strike that Kenta did to Eddie, and I thought he broke Eddie's jaw.
Jesus Christ.
Hit him that hard. And like
Okay.
Eddie, the way Eddie was selling it, like it looked like his jaw was like hanging off to one side.
But I saw the finish of Eddie versus Kenta, and like I really enjoyed that. That was just Eddie hitting like a hellacious back fist and then a brainbuster.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was actually Northern Lights bomb. They made a big deal of this because that's Julia's finisher as well.
Oh, right.
And it's what Eddie uses in New Japan as his finisher.
Oh, fair. Yeah, because he used it on Jay White, didn't he?
Used
like
it on Jay
50
White.
million times.
After like 9 back fists.
And basically the big deal of this was that it like caused like new champions for both of the men and women's championships.
Oh, right, okay.
Because Julia hit Willow with the super one off the top rope, which Willow landed like awfully. It was
Well, that's
so
why
upsetting.
she couldn't wrestle this week, could she, on AEW? Because like she was fucked up.
Because she got dumped on her fucking like shoulder, yeah, basically. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool Eddie winning. There was a really, really cool moment. Like the crowd went mental for him. It was a really cool moment where they were kind of like staring each other down and just like nodded at one another, sort of like in respect. But then it was like, yeah, next time you won't beat me, sort of thing with Kenta. Kenta stormed off. Homicide come out and cuddled Eddie.
Oh,
And as they're walking out, like Homicide just says to Eddie, turn around. And as soon as Eddie turns around, he like bursts into tears. It was a really nice moment.
I mean, he then cut like one of the best promos I've ever seen.
ever.
Yeah, dedicated it to his mother, to Terry Funk.
It
Yeah,
was
Eddie
incredible.
Kingston's
Go. I mean,
man.
it's on YouTube. I think AEW. I mean, I think AEW put it on Dynamite this week, didn't they? Like some clips of Eddie winning, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, they there's all on YouTube. You can watch the promo. He cuts to the press conference saying like how, he said like, I got no fucking business being here.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's beautiful. It's such a lovely. He's such a, obviously, Eddie Kingston. Like he literally said like, Japanese wrestling kept me alive when I was a kid. Like I'd have been dead
And
or
off
in
the
prison.
streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, it was lovely to see. Like it's the first time he's wrestled in Korakuen Hall, isn't it? So it was like really nice to see him, like not only make his Korakuen Hall debut, but also to win a title, which is so special. It was. Oh, I don't want to talk about it too much. So I'll start crying.
No, yeah.
And then to
I've
kind
been
of like,
loving
I said,
his, like, go on.
I was gonna move on. So if you want to talk about Eddie still,
It's just more like I've been loving like him putting up all the stuff from Japan, like just hanging out places and stuff as well. Has just been fantastic.
I hope he gets a Ribera Steakhouse jacket while he's there.
I hope that too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's won a belt. They have to give him one now. I think things like the law.
Just go in with the title. Just put it on the table.
Yeah.
Wait, come on then.
But yeah, so after that lovely, like, heartfelt moment, we then got Absolute Crime, which was Moxley and Desperado.
Final death.
Final death. Moxley spent most of this match just beating the piss out of Despy. Like, absolutely murdering him. There's a bit where Despy went to hit Mox with the guitar. Mox, like, ducked it, took it off him, smashed it over him, and then got the guitar neck and was, like, stabbing it into Despy's neck.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he just kept finding forks from nowhere and stabbing Despy with them.
He's got like a pocket of Holden, no, like in D&D.
Yeah.
He was literally just pulling shit out of his pockets.
I love when Moxie goes to Japan because he just goes like full unhinged mode, doesn't he? He just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's just like
he said that was like Korakuen Hall was like his favorite venue to ever wrestle in, so that's why he's like
his speech that he gave after it was fantastic about Jun Kasai and stuff like that as well. Like was unbelievable.
I want that solo match, but I also really fucking don't. Because like there was a bit where Mox was trying to stab him in the ear with a fucking fork.
Oh my god, yeah, like it directly inside his ear, though. It was
trying to stick
so
it
bad.
inside his fucking ear, yeah. It was horrible.
I know,
Felton was
I
crying.
know we don't do confrontational shit on this podcast, and we try and be positive, and we try and like focus on like the nice things in wrestling. But like some of the fucking bad takes I saw about like people getting upset about Moxley doing deathmatch wrestling in Japan. Like people were posting pictures of like Dean Ambrose with the title, and like Moxley like did that on that show, and
with
like
all the skewers.
With
yeah,
the
like
skewers.
name a bigger fall from grace. Like fuck off. Like this man is having a time of his life. He's set for life. He's got like a lifetime contract with AEW to do whatever the fuck he wants. He gets to like spend time with his wife and his family, and he gets to just go anytime he wants to go and like the other side of the world, do mad shit. He can do whatever he wants. He's like, this guy is fucking loving life.
It's the room to breathe, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
the room to express himself creatively.
Yeah.
It's performance art. Deathmatch wrestling is performance art, and I will die on this fucking hill.
Yeah.
I'll write a dissertation about this one day. Watch.
Well, Moxley has.
Yeah.
He literally wrote a dissertation about the use of blood in wrestling. Like,
Oh, I don't mean blood. I mean like specifically like.
well,
Deathmatch
those are quotes he said, like, which I actually, because everyone like takes the piss out of Moxley. Oh, he bleeds all the time. You know, it makes the match not special if you bleed all the time. And then Moxley was like, well, why the fuck should I only bleed in like the final match? Like, if a guy's like slept my wife, it doesn't make me more likely to bleed during the match. You should bleed like it's contact sport. You should bleed all the time because people hit you really hard, and like you know that happens in actual sport. People bleed. It's like it's not like all of a sudden I don't bleed for 5 matches and all of a sudden like all the blood comes out of my face and like pisses everywhere. It's like every match I should have like a little cut somewhere, like my nose should be.
That's what he said, didn't he? Like it should be like little bleeds, except that Mox is a bleeder. So like,
except as soon as like any blood comes out of Moxie, all of the blood comes out. It's just like
yeah. Yeah. There was a really cool moment in this match as well, where Mox hit Despy with the Death Rider, and Despy kicked out at 1.
Jesus.
Yes.
And like they were like they made such a big deal of it, where like there's literally like you can count on one hand the amount of people who've kicked out of Death Rider in New Japan.
I was gonna say it's not like super protected in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think literally it's Despy and maybe Suzuki.
Right.
And that's it.
Fair.
Yeah, like he shot up and then Mox just like made them with a King Kong lariat. And but that like they literally, there was a couple of moments where I thought, oh yeah, Despy's winning this, because like he managed to hit La Pincha twice, and I was just like, fuck, like Despy's got this. I hope this isn't final death. I do hope they have one more run around.
Did Mox win in the end?
I think they win.
Mox won, but then he said like
a psychopath.
Yeah, he said Despy's like the toughest motherfucker he's ever fought in Japan.
Nice.
He said in deathmatch wrestling, like
I love how, because Despy, like he only wrestled Mox for the first time like a year or so ago, didn't he? And then he just went like, right, I want to do deathmatch wrestling now with John Moxley, and then he just got on this like massive like tear of like insane matches.
He did that first one with Junker Sai, and then it was like it's like a woken something in Despy, and I was like, okay, Despy's a deathmatch wrestler. Like he had that one with Joey Janela a couple of weeks ago, which was fucking mental.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so keeping it with news then, because as people may be aware, the G1 starts next week.
Yes.
So what we can do for a bit of fun, maybe preview
actually on Saturday, as we've just established.
Saturday, yes.
Yeah.
Is that the 15th? Fuck me. Where's the
15th?
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
Right. What we'll do then? We'll sort of just run down the blocks, and we'll just pick our block winners and who's going to advance out of each block. We'll just have a little pick 'em, and then we can look back on this in a few weeks' time and see how wrong we all were.
Yeah.
Right, so block A, we've got Sonata, Chase Owens, Hikuleo, Ren Narita, Shota Umino, Yota Tsuji, Gabriel Kidd, and Kaito Kiyomiya. Who we got?
Can't look past Sonata with that.
Has anyone not got Sonata to come out?
My heart says Kiyoma, but my logical brain says Sonata.
Sonata with a slight off chance it might be Tsuji.
It's 2 per block, isn't it? Come out.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can have 2. You can have 2 to advance. So I think Sonata's a lock. Like maybe Shota. Is the big on Shota? Maybe Shota.
Is it 2 per block, or is it just there?
Yeah,
I thought it might
sure.
be 1 because it's 4 blocks. It's usually 2 per block when it's like 2 blocks.
Right.
I mean, because it's 4 blocks, it might be 1. Like
trying to find any. I'm on the Nuge website now, trying to find any information on this. Like the format of this is really difficult.
No. There's first places. There's first places and second places for each block.
What was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2 per block.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm gonna,
yeah. It's on the page. I've just scrolled down.
so I'm gonna say for A block, Sonada. And even though I've just said Kioma, I am gonna change and say Shota because yeah, he's my boy.
Shoots.
I think Sonada and Kiyomiya makes sense, but I don't know because Kiyomiya is like a massive name in Noah, isn't he? So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
would make,
He's their Okada, isn't he?
I think
Pretty
so, yeah.
much.
So it would make sense for him to like come out strong on A block, but
Yeah.
they're really big on Shooter and they're massive on Suji.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of them two. I'm gonna say maybe Suji because they might want to run that back, down the line.
I'm gonna say Sanada and Suji.
Okay, so we've got Tsunada, Faye, you're saying Shooter, and me and Jay are saying Suji. Right, Block B, speaking of Okada, you've got Kazuchika Okada, Yoshihashi, Taichi, Kenta, Great Khan, Will Ospreay, Tangaloa, and Phantasmo. I mean, that's a fucking group of death, innit? Because can you look past Okada and Ospreay?
Maybe Kenta
Over
Also,
Ospreay.
El Phantasmo.
El
Okada.
Phantasmo is also there.
I don't know. I mean, basically off the fact that Okada lost to Danielson, they might go down the whole route they do sometimes, where because Okada lost like a massive match, he then goes on a bit of a
lost
loser
his
streak.
confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when he lost the belt to Kenny and he started walking around with balloons.
But then he might just go.
Remember
He might just go Okada wins lol and just beat everyone. So
Yeah.
He might, but I feel like when Okada like takes a big L and he's took two massive ones this year, sometimes they do have him on like a bit of a downturn just so he has to like kind of redeem himself. But then the G1 can be that for him, I suppose.
Yeah. Ospreay's getting out right. Ospreay's going through.
I think Ospreay, yeah, probably. It's definitely for me between Okada, Kenta, and Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever had to push it, who are you picking?
I'm going to say Okada and Ospreay.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Only because I know how like stoic New Japan's booking can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, onto Block C. This is the one that for me, that personally, this is my dream block. David Finlay, Ishii, Evil, Tamatonga, Shingo, Aaron Hanare, Eddie Kingston, Mikey Nichols.
Finlay and Eddie.
You're putting Eddie in? Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Finlay and Shingo.
I'm going to say Finlay.
I really want Eddie to, but
I don't think he's going to. I think it's going to be. I mean, he is a champion though, so like that might
so
give him some rub. Yeah, no. Finlay's a lock. I think Finlay's easy going out of this. I've got the fear.
Then we can have Eddie and Yano.
They can bond over the hatred.
Yano ain't getting out of D block.
I've got the fear about Evil. I always had the fear about Evil.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think. Looking at that group, I think if there's anyone who's gonna like be a kind of offshoot person to go far, it's probably gonna be Tama.
Can we just like
because
revel in the fact that we're getting Eddie versus Ishii again? We're getting Eddie versus Tamatonga, Eddie versus Shingo.
Eddie versus Shingo's this Sunday.
Eddie versus Evil's the day.
I'm getting up early to watch it.
That's fucking cursed. Instead of being in Blood and Guts, Eddie has to wrestle Evil.
Don't worry about it.
So yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna split the vote. I'm gonna go one with my head, which is Finlay, and I'm gonna go one with my heart, which is Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
Just that's a special treat for me. That one. That's a little pick.
I hope you're right.
I really do. I just think maybe him being a champion might give him a bit of rub to get out the group, and then he can like fight. I don't know, fucking
Okada.
Fucking Eddie versus Okada.
Well, if he goes through, I'll let you know who he's going to face in a sec.
Right, D block, which I think is the most interesting one in terms of who could go through. So you've got Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tetsuya Naito, Haruki Goto, Zack Sabre Jr., Toru Yano, Jeff Cobb, Shane Haste, and Alex Coughlin.
I'm going to say Zack Sabre Jr. and Jeff Cobb.
Oh.
I think Zack Sabre Jr. and I don't know if Tanahashi's always
won it last year, didn't he?
He did, but so did Tamatonga.
Yeah.
So Tamatonga was in the final. So, there is that. Hiroki Goto always does well in it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Sabre and Goto.
I'm going to say Sabre and Naito.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a feeling about Naito,
I
but
think they'll want a veteran to go deep for so someone can beat him, but I don't think it'll be Tanahashi this year. I think it'll be Naito.
I think if you put Tanahashi in it, it'll be like cruelty to the elderly, to be honest.
But that's a really intriguing group D, because there's some real banana skins there. Like Jeff Cobb's going to upset some people. Tori Yano's going to beat somebody massive, isn't he? Because that's what he does.
let's have a look.
Sad Moxley
noises. He has that kind of ongoing thing with Zack Sabre Jr. where he always manages to one up Zack Sabre Jr. or get one over Zack Sabre Jr.
So out of everyone we just picked, then who do you think is going to win the G1?
So can we do what you said then, Jay? Your first and second picks for. So Block A, first place. If there's 4 quarterfinal matches.
Yeah.
Block A, first place is against Block C, second place. So that would be David Finlay.
Could be Eddie.
This could be Eddie versus Sonata.
Yeah.
They're not going to let Eddie crime Sonata.
Okay, for the love that's all the totally, give me Suji versus Eddie, please.
Yeah.
Go to Suji's unreal.
Just once. Just once my entire life. That's all I need. I'm begging you. Gato, come on. Play the game.
And then quarterfinal 2 is Block first place versus Block B first place versus D Block second place.
I mean, that's throwing up some big matches. That could be Ospreay Zack. That could be Okada Naito. It could be any combination of those men. It could be Tanahashi in the mix there. It could be Jeff Cobb versus Ospreay.
Yeah. Quarterfinal 3 is C Block first place versus B Block second place.
So again, that could be Eddie or Finlay if we're booking to us. That could be a rematch of Eddie v Kenta. It could be Eddie v Okada. It could be Eddie v Ospreay.
Yeah.
It could be Finlay.
Now you've said that, Eddie Kenta might be a shout there.
Mm-hmm.
Run it back. Have Kenta beat Eddie.
I feel like at the moment they're trying to establish some new stars.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel like, I mean, the other thing as well, just to throw a curveball in this, it could be ELP versus David Finlay again. They've been feuding for fucking God knows how long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, until the tournament starts, you don't know. Because the great thing about the G1 is it's such a long tournament in terms of matches. Someone can just get hot, can't they? They can just heat someone up during the tournament, so easily.
What happened to Aaron Harare? Didn't he fucking beat Tanahashi?
No, it didn't. I refuse to acknowledge that.
And then quarterfinal 4 is D Block first place versus A Block second place.
So that could be Ghost Hunter Alex Coughlin versus
Suji.
Sonata.
Or Shota, or Suji. Or it could also be Zack Sabre Jr. fighting someone if Naito or Tanahashi run away with the block.
Was the one with A Block and B Block, sorry?
A Block was A Block first place and B Block. No, there wasn't A Block, B Block. No.
That's
because
intriguing.
then quarterfinal 1 winner versus quarterfinal 2, and then quarterfinal 3 winner versus quarterfinal 4.
I don't have the mental capacity to keep up with who we put where for that. So
No, I don't. I could see them doing Shota and Okada in the final, because they've been teasing Shota's desperate to face Okada.
If Okada wins again, I swear to God.
I don't know.
Moxley was Shota's gonna run away with the G1, didn't he, as well, in his little promo.
Maybe Mox has been politicking.
Who do we if you have to pick a winner, who we got?
You know what? Even though I don't think I picked them, I've talked myself into this now. Naito.
I think it's Naito, yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking Sonata's champion because he left LIJ. The most logical way they could, story thing they could do is either Naito going after Sonata or Okada, who lost the belt to Sonata, going after Sonata.
What if
Or
Sonata wins?
Sonata wins and picks Naito, I think.
I'm gonna say Suji, even though he wasn't in my picks.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so hard to call this year.
It's a good one, isn't it?
It is a really good. It's a really intriguing collection of wrestlers, and I'm really quite happy with what we've got here. If Sonata doesn't win, then who takes him out?
Whoever is going to face him are King of Pro Wrestling. So I'm just looking at who he could.
More importantly, Faye.
If Sonata goes, he's probably going in the quarters.
Faye, as someone who is going to Wrestle Kingdom this year, what match do you want to see at Wrestle Kingdom?
Oh, I mean, Jay hasn't fucking shut up about Mox and Okada, and I know it mightn't even happen.
I mean, like out of winning the G1 and going to challenge Sonata, who do you want to wrestle Sonata at Wrestle Kingdom?
Like in my heart, or like logically?
Yeah, in your heart. If you could pick anyone out of
Eddie Kingston
out of the G1. So Eddie Kingston runs the G1, unites the Strong and New Japan titles.
Yeah, that's it.
Then comes back to AEW, just straight murders Claudio Castagnoli, and then beats MJF as well.
Belt collector Eddie Kingston. Then he recreates that picture of Vader with all the belts like resting on him with his shirt off. I see, looking at all the possible people who could face Sonata, that's also taking into account the fact that Sonata holds on till Wrestle Kingdom. He's got to defend it at King of Pro Wrestling, which, I mean, we've seen people lose it at King of Pro Wrestling, which leads into something completely different at Wrestle Kingdom.
In theory, Jake, you know this better than I do. What happens if Sonata wins this and then loses the belt before Wrestle Kingdom?
I'm gonna fuck it.
Does he get a title shot at Wrestle Kingdom?
I'd assume that Sonata would then have the title shot.
Because he'd have the briefcase, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Essentially, if Sonata wins it, he gets to choose who challenges him at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
But he doesn't necessarily have to say anytime, like, immediately.
So presumably he'd wait until he'd done all his defenses up until Wrestle Kingdom, wouldn't you? Like, until he, like, cleared all of his hurdles.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. To be honest, I think... see, even now I'm thinking maybe go for Sonata to win it, because in a way, it's the most intriguing thing they could do.
See, I haven't said anything. I'm going to say Sonata because I think I think they want to like establish him. I think his title reign's been a bit shaky. I think they might want to like something for him to hang his hat on.
Well, the other thing as well was that after he beat Suji at Dominion, he said he was going to win the G1. But then he also said he challenged Taichi, which no one wants to see. So there is that too.
Can we just say if Eddie wins it, there's a chance that Eddie could demolish just 5 guys and then demolish 5 guys?
Yeah.
Like immediately afterwards. Yeah. Which I would pay money to watch both of those things happen.
I'd pay money to go to 5 guys with Eddie. I'd even buy him some more chips.
I would share a large chips with them because I know you get loads, don't you? So. And I'd go to the machine and get his drink for him, so he wouldn't have to.
I'd let him pick whatever flavor he wanted from the machine.
I'd let him pick mine. Be like, if you want me to get like,
yeah.
If you want me to get like lime Fanta, mate, I'll fucking do it for you. It's fine. Right, my brain hurts. Should we move on to some AW? Because I understand that.
Remember how we said we were only going to cover bangers only for Rampage?
And then Tony Khan went, well, fuck you, it's bangers only. So
Tony Khan will pay for his crimes.
Tony Khan will pay for his crimes. We'll breeze through Dynamite first, because there were some bits on this. Remember when the tag tournament sounded a bit silly, and then it just fucking cooked, and now all the matches are amazing.
Yeah.
Because
I like the idea of this, because it was something a little bit different, but then when some of the teams were getting announced, it's like, this could go either way.
Yeah.
And then it was just really good.
Oh, boy.
So we started out Orange Cassidy and Darby versus Keith Lee and Swerve. It's just really good film on it.
I miss Swerve in our glory.
Yeah.
So I loved that there were moments in this match where Swerve and Keith Lee were obviously having really good fun tagging with each other, and then there were moments where they had like a bit of miscommunication and they just battered each other by mistake. But then they were just really happy when that happened as well. They were just like, "Oh yeah, that was cool."
I think this is leading to Swerve and Keith Lee maybe at All In.
You've called.
He looked like he was just having the time of his life. Like,
no, well, here's the thing. Fightful said that Swerve and Keith Lee is going to happen eventually, which makes me think, well, this makes the most sense for them to kind of like just like do it now on the road to All In. Give Swerve something to do before he like murders Orange for the belt.
Yeah.
Like he's going to crime Nick Wayne on Dynamite this week. We know that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second because that was a beautiful little package. But yeah, we'll finish on this match. Again, a really, really fun match. Loads of miscommunication between Swerve and Keith Lee. And even the finish, wasn't it? Was Swerve accidentally kicked Keith in the face and then Darby last up at him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was nice. Orange Cassidy continues to have excellent matches on television because that's his job now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's fine. After that, yeah, we got that really awesome. Like, they're really hyping Nick Wayne up a lot, aren't they? Like, they're really hyping him up.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, he's been signed to the company for what, 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they obviously know he's going to be a big deal. I mean, we all know he is because we watch GCW and we've seen him live and in person a few times. We've been very lucky to have that. But to basically say this 18-year-old kid's the future of the fucking business, you need to be watching him. Like you've got to do something to make a big deal out of him.
And obviously Swerve's a really good guy for him to have his first match with because they know each other really well. They've got that built-in history.
Yeah. I mean, it just takes that tweet that Swerve put out.
18.
Oh, 18. On his birthday as well. On his fucking 18th birthday.
Oh, God, I can't wait for Swerve to cry. Wait.
It's so upsetting. Next up, we get another Jungle Boy jumps to another car and drives away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, looks like we're getting Jungle Hook implodes at either All In or All Out for that FTW title. They're going to be dodging each other.
It's coming. Next up, we had just a random.
Oh, actually, no. Battle of the Belts is next week, isn't it?
Battle of the Belts is next week. Yeah, they haven't done a title change in Battle of the Belts yet, have they? So that'd be a fun one to do.
No.
Next up, then we had a wonderfully random ass match. We had the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass versus the Bollywood Boys and the Blade.
Yeah, I love the Bollywood
was like
Boys.
on fire on this match.
He was so angry, wasn't he? It was so. I love how everyone in this match was wearing pink except for the Blade, who was just wearing black. This was Barbie v Oppenheimer, the match.
I love the fact that the Bollywood Boys gear and the Acclaims literally, like if you squinted, look the same.
Yeah.
They described the Blade in the rap looking like their dominatrix, which I loved.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good. It was a really fun squash. Obviously, the Acclaimed are sort of like building up momentum towards a trios title match again, aren't they? So when Malachi's
don't
finished,
want them to take it off the House of Black.
When Malachi's finished with Andrew Daddy, then they can worry about the real Daddy S.
It's true. It's very true.
I really want the Acclaim in the House of Black to get into a feud because I think there's a lot to sort of tear down about Max Caster's personality, like from Malachi, like to sort of like make him out to be a real bad guy because he like says mean things about people, doesn't he? Which is not a very nice thing for someone
They
to
could do that for like right up until All In though.
Yeah, and I have like Brody King just come out of the fucking ground and swallow him as he's trying to do a rap on time. Like fucking Babadook.
That would be fun.
So
Next, we've got they showed the Eddie clip, which was nice. John Moxley broke my fucking heart.
Oh, yes. I know. Eddie, pick up your phone. Like, what? No, stop.
And he's like, Eddie, come on. He said, I just don't want you to be angry all the time. I just want you to be in a better place. I just want you to be happy.
Yeah, that piece of shit.
Hey.
That piece of fucking garbage. You wanted Eddie to be happy. You wouldn't have brought that Swiss piece of shit in to ruin everything for them.
Oh.
But yeah,
You're breaking my heart, yeah.
It was you could see every time Eddie and Mox like have like because the weight of history just hangs off everything they do together, doesn't it? And it's beautiful. And again, it's always this feeling that even though they're really good friends, like Eddie was like genuinely hurt when not hurt, but Eddie was felt genuinely like abandoned when all of his mates went to like bigger companies and left them behind, and that's fueled both his character and him as a person for like the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when they feuded as well, and like Eddie was like, "You went to the other company and became the face of that."
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, yeah, Eddie resents Mox.
I'm really in for another singles feud, but where Eddie's the face, because I think it's fascinating what they can do with and to each other in that feud. It's going to be great. Next we have a drawing for the tag team tournament. I love this. Matt Hardy was like, "Oh yeah, who's my partner?" And like you say, he's like, "Oh, it's Jeff." And Matt's like, "Oh, what? Jeff, my brother?" It's like, "No, Jeff Jarrett."
Renee looked like she was like delivering the worst news, and RJ was so happy about it.
And then Matt was like, just like beside himself. As he stormed off, he shouted, "Oh, the nuts of slap."
Oh,
Which was excellent. We had a really weird Chris Jericho segment.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. You say weird. I think it's basically to get Jericho into blood and guts because Danielson's hurt.
That's upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really? He's been in 3. He's good at them.
He might fall off a ring onto a crash mat again and make the internet angry.
Don't worry about it.
Why didn't he fall on solid concrete? I wanted to see a man die.
I mean,
The thing
to
is,
be
I
fair,
love this. Go on.
I was going to say that fucking terrifying spot, like in the last one where Claudia was swinging him really close to the edge.
Yeah. Didn't he say like at one point he went like his body went like over the edge, like his head went like over the edge?
Yeah.
Yeah, his arms did.
But like the thing is as well though, I don't know about Jericho being in that because it's very much like Mox and Jericho don't really get on.
No, they had
And
beef,
Mox
didn't
has
they?
never really wanted to be like on his side ever.
Neither does Jericho and Ken. And Mox is very
I don't want that either.
Mox is very much the enemy of the enemy's my friend.
Okay.
So I saw something on Twitter
Which is
today.
why it would actually make sense if it was Punk.
I saw something on Twitter today that fucking sent me, and now I will only accept it. If only there was someone
I know.
who
I know
hates
what
the
you're gonna
elite
say.
and has unfinished business with hitting them with things.
Ace Steel. I
No.
fucking knew it.
So I saw someone petitioning for Pac to be the fifth man for BCC.
I saw that actually before, and I was
that.
like, yeah, Pac, like that's a great way to get Pac to come back. Because like Death Triangle's kind of fallen apart. Like,
During the six Max series or the 7 Max series, they were having like a sort of falling out over the use of weapons,
like
weren't
a
they?
crisis of faith.
Yeah. And then the Lucha Brothers have gone like full face and be like won the Ring of Honor titles, and like they've been sort of like doing their babyface, like their crowd favorite thing. Pac's just gone home to Newcastle to be furious with everybody for a while.
Hang out with them.
Lucha Bros have been tagging with all the luchadors as well. Like they tagged with Bandido for a bit, and they tagged on Commander and Vikingo.
That'd be good though, because you could set Pac up with something for All In as well.
Yeah.
On the back of this.
You know what they should do? They should just have Pac and Roosh as a tag team and just give me all I want. Have them straight away go into a feud with the Young Bucks and crime the shit out of them. That'd be fucking glorious.
On the basis of Juice Robinson is allowed to feud with Ricky Starks anytime he wants because of how well he can say Ricky, I think Pac should be allowed to feud with Kenny Omega whenever he wants just because of how well he can say Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega. Also, like, Pac's like legit like one of Kenny's best feuds he's had in AEW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
like that Iron Man match still holds up?
Can you imagine Pac in Blood and Guts? It would be fucking ridiculous.
It'd be so good.
He'd definitely do a fucking Black Arrow off the top one.
Yeah.
A lunatic.
Through Kenny through a table.
Imagine though as well if Pac's been fucking just sat at home getting like working out and like saw that picture on the other day where he was working out with Finn Balor and his legs were like fucking tree trunks.
Yeah.
Like he somehow got more jacked and he just looked angrier and angrier. Because apparently, and he had complications with is like no, he had to have surgery on his nose, and didn't he? Because
of the trios match, and then probably visa stuff.
And all the seven matches.
Yeah, I know he wrestled like 5 of them matches, like a broken nose or something, didn't he?
Yeah, and he kept getting fucking swatted in the face.
yeah. Because Kenny Omega's like whole thing just kneeing people really hard in the face. So turns out that's a really bad combination.
There was the one where Pac took off his protective mask and got V-triggered, to be fair.
Yeah.
And like his nose got bent round his fucking face. So
So yeah, getting back to Jericho because we have to sadly. The offshoot of this is just that John Callis wants Jericho to join the Don Callis family.
but what's really interesting about this is it feels like Jericho is like as a result of this, it feels like Jericho's kind of like sending Sammy and Daniel Garcia out to like make their own like sort of paths.
Letting
Yeah,
the
with
chicks
like
leave the nest.
yeah, like when they did the little thing on Rampage, which we'll get to, and he was just kind of like, oh yeah, like you've got to kind of go on your own sometimes.
You know what
It,
we haven't had, which we could have if Danny turns face, heel Utah and face Danny.
Yeah, we have when Garcia won the belt in Buffalo.
well, he was definitely kind of a face there, wasn't he?
He was
Yeah,
fucking
but like
massive
it's not
baby
like
face. He was hometown hero.
no, but it's different, isn't it? Like to like just being like a face like one night to like him being like beloved by the crowd, especially in Ring of Honor. They fucking
Yeah,
love Danny.
but Daniel Garcia is too much of a little shit. Like, no matter how much of a baby face he's trying to be, there's always the crux of it that he's a little shit.
So is Utah.
Oh yeah, Youth is a little shit. We know that. Danielson told us.
Speaking of little shits, do you want to talk about MGF and Adam Cole versus Magic Meat?
I hate that word. I hate it so much.
I only saw that promo like earlier today, and it had me like in stitches.
Magic Meat.
What
So, yeah,
what
so-
happens? What happens if you season your steaks with cocaine? This.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll get the bad news out of the way first. They don't hit double clothesline.
No. One day.
You got to say that. You got to make them wait for it. But the entrance was just MGF. MGF, amongst being like one of the best wrestlers in the world, he is a master of physical comedy.
Yeah.
It looked like
this
he was just one
reminded
of the
me-
biggest wrestling fans ever. And
Did you see the
won
thing?
a competition.
Did you see the thing he found in Pat Buck's car today that he tweeted
Oh,
about
when it
before?
was one of the wrestlers he wanted to wrestle was Adam Cole.
Yeah, and the other was Cody Rhodes
Yeah, and Bear Bronson, weirdly.
and Bear Bronson, which we still haven't got.
No, that's that. Who'd have thought that'd be the last one to happen?
I'm deeply upset. Well, that was from people he trained with, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like person you train with, Bear Bronson, and then two people you want to kind of strive to wrestle. But yeah, this reminded me of when like they were doing the Damien Mizdow stuff, and he was like imitating his every move, like with the entrance, because it's just MJF basically like a kid watching Cole do his entrance.
It was like, yeah, because he was like getting in front of Adam Cole and doing like getting ready with like the he was doing the little bit and everything, wasn't he? And doing all Cole's little mannerisms. And then at the end, after they won, and he was like, Adam Cole was like trying to talk, and he was like, "Do the name thing."
Oh,
Well, in the on the entrance as well, there was one thing I did notice where when they were in the ring, he did the Roderick Strong thing, which was like, okay.
Yeah.
yeah. Generic white guy thing.
I think that MJF's gonna get Roddy to turn on Cole, join him.
Yeah.
MJF hasn't had the faction for about 5 minutes, so you know.
Then afterwards, it was Adam Cole's birthday. It was Adam Cole's legitimate birthday, so he had a cake, and then MJF made him. MJF went to put Adam Cole on the cake, and Adam Cole reversed it and put MJF in the cake. Because if there's that's like the rule of AEW now. If there's a cake at ringside or in the ring, MJF has to go into it. It's like the law.
I love the fact that MJF went like right up to the camera, like I'm gonna shove his. It reminded me of something off I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah,
where he was like, I'm gonna shove
thing,
his face in there.
The funny thing where he was singing, Adam was like, "Okay, we get it. You can sing."
Yeah, it was really good fun.
But then Adam Cole's like sincere thanks was weird.
And like he's been like doing a lot of heel stuff, like little heel things since he's been with MJF. Like he's been acting real heelish. Like he laughed at Tony Schiavone. He was sort of
they both laughed at Tony Schiavone. It was like, and in the great little segment where they were working out as well was amazing.
Yeah. Like Adam Cole, remember, like Adam wasn't spotting MJF when he was doing his set. He was just looking at his phone. He's being a bit of a dickhead. He's being a bit of a shit.
I
What he does
think
best.
I think it's what MJF does though, isn't it? Where he lulls people into a false sense of security before he absolutely betrays them.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Like he did the same. He did the same thing in the Punk feud.
He's like he's like the opposite of Sting in that he always betrays people and that he doesn't. Sting always gets betrayed.
Yeah. This feels almost for me like beat for beat like a cross of the Punk feud and the Cody feud.
Yeah,
because there's the whole like hero worship of Punk. There's the whole befriending the guy like Cody, and eventually MJF's going to do like the ultimate betrayal on Adam Cole. And it's going to be really upsetting. Budge is going to be a bloody mess.
Oh, poor Budge.
All his friends are going to say, "I told you so." Especially Roddy.
Next up, then we have Ruby Soho beat Britt Baker. Bit of a surprise one.
This.
Ruby picks up the win. So this is a repeat of last year's Owen final.
Yeah.
And this time Ruby gets the win via like gratuitous amounts of interference.
Yeah.
I kind of like this, that it means that we're definitely getting a new winner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also feel like the amount of like Britt going, "I'm going to defend my title" and all that, and coming out with the belt is like, you're absolutely fucking not winning this now.
Yeah.
Like you're 1,000% not even getting out of this match.
Yeah, that's fair. And then the main event, Kenny Omega versus the conqueror of Kenny Omega, Wheeler Yuta.
I enjoyed this match immensely.
I mean, the fact that it took Kenny Omega getting to get Takeshita to come and involve himself and distract Yuta to actually be able to pick up a win over the best bout machine, Wheeler Yuta, is a fucking disgrace on wrestling. They should expunge it from the record. It should still be 1-0 to Yuta.
Yeah, this should be stricken. It should be Yuta's record should be unblemished.
He'll win the rubber match. It's all right. He'll pin Kenny in blood and guts.
Oh, what if he does? Fucking hell, that'd be.
My god!
Sorry.
That.
He'll submit Kenny in blood and guts, I should say, because it's forfeit or submission.
Forfeit or submission, yeah. But yeah, Kenny. This is a fantastic match. Really, really good back and forth. Like this is like, I like Yuta because he doesn't really. He always takes the pin, doesn't he? Like in the multi-mans and stuff like that. But then, like when he has a singles match, he brings it out of himself, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And you see that like horrible tenacious streak in him.
Yeah, like he's really good at making a babyface look like they're really in peril.
Yeah.
Like as you say, just being like tenacious and just like taking it to them.
But then there was a couple of times in the match where like they would trade a bit, and then Kenny would just be like, "No, I'm the better guy here," and then he just hit him with like a massive move and be like, "No, I'm big match Kenny. Like this is me."
Well, they did really like make it feel though like you said Kenny well scouted.
And he did.
There was a couple. There's a couple of times where Kenny went for the one-winged angel and couldn't hit it. And there was a bit where Yuta like reversed it into the seatbelt, and I thought, oh my god, he's gonna fucking do this. I got so excited.
All the triggers as well that he could like move out of as well.
Yeah, I do think that somewhere down the line, Yuta's getting a singles win over Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's one of the people that they see as like the guy in like 5 years' time.
Yeah.
Think of all the matches he's had already, like even like the ones with like MJF and stuff like that. They've all been phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's great because every time you see Yuta wrestle, you can see how much he's improving.
Yeah,
and like that's like on a week by week thing, and you can just see like, oh yeah, like this guy is going to be their next Mox. Like he's gonna just like they're just gonna take when Mox decides he wants to retire. They're just going to go, all right, Yuta, that's your position now.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see because Yuta's fucking awesome.
I love him.
Right then, we'll pop along to Rampage real quick, just sort of skim through this. First match, the Dark Orgy versus the Young Bucks.
Oh my god. This match
went so hard.
Good.
Yeah. Like you say, remember when it's like we said, oh yeah, we'll only do Rampage when it's banging matches, and then it's like, well, Rampage is just like the banger hour now. It's like this is it. Yeah. Just like we don't, because we've got Collision now for like other storylines. We're just put fucking banger matches on the show, and it's fine.
It was so good. Like I watched both of those today, like one after the other, and I'm gonna say I enjoyed Rampage more than I did Collision.
All right,
Collision
okay.
was amazing, but like I did enjoy the matches on
We'll get to
Rampage more.
Collision. Collision felt very much. I think there's a match in Collision that sort of stole the show and sucked all the air out the sort of back half of the show. But we'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, this match was phenomenal. A lot of storytelling in this match. A lot of Hangman being very hesitant to sort of get physical with the Dark Order.
Was it? I thought it felt like very much like Hangman wanting to murder the Dark Order the way they were being. Like he did not hesitate to get tagged in.
True. I mean,
And they were being like
I mean,
that.
more like towards the end, he was like, I feel like there was a little bit of hesitation for the buckshot, which gave. Uno
Well, he
the opening.
hesitated on the buckshot on Uno, and then
He got pulled though, didn't he? By
handsome Takeshita like sauntered out with the crowd.
I mean, there was that bit early on, wasn't there, when Uno just like slapped him across the face like really hard.
yeah.
Yeah,
Even Alex Reynolds though was being a little shit to him at the beginning.
Yeah.
Alex Reynolds always
fucking
been a shit to Hangman. He hates
I was about to
Hangman.
say he fucking hates Hangman, doesn't he? Like
He said he was the babysitter, mate. You know, that's like not on. You can't talk to people like that.
I mean, as well, though, talking about someone who's like really improved in recent weeks, Alex Reynolds has been fucking killing it.
Yeah.
he really has.
Been tremendous in all these 6-man tag matches he's been part of.
Well, this was all this elite drama was instigated by Reynolds because even like on BTE, he was the one who was like saying to Matt that he was going to tell Kenny about Full Gear, wasn't he, and stuff like that.
Yeah, because he could see that Hangman wasn't like really the friend. He was just waiting for the fucking cool guys to like welcome him back into the clique.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's such a brilliant, really upsetting storyline. Like
when they eventually do turn on Hangman again, because it will happen, because it always does. The Dark Order aren't going to be there for him.
No, well, this feels like Dark Order's villain arc now, doesn't it? They're like, well, we have been like wronged, but we're also going to be like absolutely evil about it.
But then there's also the fact that that's like kind of like nicely woven in with the story they've got in Ring of Honor, where like the righteous are trying to get the Dark Order to be more vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and now they are.
It's great stuff. Yeah, so the match ended when Takeshita distracted the ref. Uno low-blowed Hangman. So Hangman went to do the bullshit, didn't he? Because he hesitated. Uno pulled the referee in front, so he had to like sort of pull up. And then Takeshita came out, distracted the ref. Uno hit a low blow, then Claudio ran in, just fucking decapitated Hangman.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. I wish they'd hurry up and do it. Ideally, all in Claudio versus Hangman, please.
I don't understand it, right? Claudio's like 6'5". How the fuck did he get in the ring without anyone seeing him?
Because the referee was too busy looking at Takeshita.
No, because we didn't even see him. Like, he just appeared out of fucking nowhere. It's like, Jesus Christ, that man's the size of a house. How did he get in there without anyone noticing him?
Magic.
Yeah.
It was great. And then afterwards, they beat up Hangman, and then Kenny comes out to make the save. So, yeah, that was...
Kenny looked like he just run out from the fucking trainer's room, was not in any sort of gear whatsoever.
You've been playing Street Fighter backstage or something, probably. And
Literally.
He was having a nice time. New Final Fantasy just come out, he's probably playing that.
He was crying because he got the defeat over Wheelie Yuta, even though he shouldn't have.
Next up, then we had Sammy Guevara and Danny Garcia versus Matt and Jeff Jarrett. This is another tag team tournament.
We got full My World entrance. You'll love to see it.
Yeah. But yeah, this was fun. Nothing special, but it was fine.
Trent and Thingy were very good.
Hey, I was gonna say we got
Sammy, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got full Ethan Page face turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which made me really happy because Ethan Page is the fucking best. More Ethan Page, please.
Yeah.
Just climbing Sanjay Dutt.
Next up, then we had very short, but I felt this match sort of did a lot with the time it had. Shida versus Marina Shafir.
I enjoyed this match a lot.
It was pretty fun.
I like Shida. Like,
if Rampage is just a show where Shida comes out and gets to do murder on people, then I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's the best that Marina Shafir's looked since he signed it.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I know Moxie does a lot of work with her, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Moxie's like really high on her. I know she's done a lot of like wrestling around. Moxie's got her booked in a lot of indies. She got booked at GCW. She's got her booked at Warrior.
Well, but the Bloodsport a few times, hasn't he?
Yeah,
And in Revolver as well.
And Revolver, yeah. So I think Moxie's like really taking an interest in Marina, and I think those do it because he said on Renee's podcast, and he said like it's all about getting her out into to different styles of wrestling and sort of expanding her sort of horizons, and like sort of
and it's getting her to wrestle her way instead of like how she thinks that people in AEW wanted to wrestle.
Well, it's because she. I mean, I don't want to poke names, but I think it's because she got like trained in WWE, so she's very much been told. I think that you have to sort of wrestle the way everyone else wrestles because like that's how it's easiest. And John Moxie's like, no, I want you to look unique and different and like be yourself, do MMA stuff.
And out. I imagine as well, like the fact that she's obviously married to Roderick Strong, so she's got like someone there like 24/7 for advice. That doesn't hurt either.
And now Roddy's working with her as well. Now they're working together.
And now they're working together. So it's just another like really good mind to kind of like guide her in the right direction.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if Josh Barnett maybe did a little bit of mentoring for her when he gets the chance.
Playing her and her and Barnett playing a bit of two-headed dragon, bit of Commander.
Yeah. I'm going to pretend I know what that means.
Faye knows. Speaking of, go to the main event. Speaking of entertaining tag teams, Big Bill and Brian Cage, man. Jesus.
That finisher was fucking incredible.
And Matt Sydal, you can't really sleep on them either, though. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this match was classic, like flippy guys versus big boys. And it was like as soon as Matt Sydal got called, it was like, oh fuck, he's had it then, hasn't he? You know, this is bad. This is bad times.
This is the best Brian Cage has looked, I think.
Yeah, and Big Bill.
Brian Cage has been smashing it in recent months.
Yeah, in Ring of Honor and everything. We talked about Big Bill as well. Like what a fucking glow from Big Bill over the last like couple of months.
Yeah, his whole charisma as well. Like I think that he's like obviously like putting him with Lee Moriarty is a fucking great idea because they both kind of got like. They both feel like they benefited off like this tag team, but also like Lee Moriarty.
Big Bill's done wonders for him.
Yeah, also like Lee Moriarty's just kind of like character work, and like Bill started like picking up things with that where they're just two dickheads, essentially. And like you could see it where Bill was being a dickhead and like Cage like what the fuck you do.
A really fun match. I need to say that the finisher, which is like sort of Big Bill hitting a clothesline and Brian Cage hitting a powerbomb at the same time.
That was gorgeous.
It was just beautiful. That was really, really nice. Yes, that was Rampage. We'll move on to Collision. I don't know how I feel about these Punk promos.
I think it went. I thought it was all right, but at the same time, I think we didn't need them out that much.
It feels a bit WWE, doesn't it? Like here's the main guy. We're going to get him in front of you as much as possible.
I think that's maybe not WWE. I feel like it's almost like WCW, like the difference between like Nitro and Thunder, in the sense that Nitro was a lot more kind of like the NWO come out and do their shit, and then like maybe the top babyface would come out,
and that's what polished.
I wouldn't say corporate polished.
Not polished, but like you know what I mean. Like it feels like marketable.
But then at the same time, they literally like the whole point of Collision was it was meant to be something completely different to Dynamite,
and it does feel different. It feels a lot more like sort of relaxed pace. Like Dynamite can feel very sort of breathless a lot of the time, can't it? And just sort of like rattles from one to the other.
It's intense.
Yeah.
I like it. It reminds me a lot of like WCW when I was watching it as a kid.
I don't say this is like a negative, but it feels like Collision's maybe pitched at a slightly more casual audience.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like I would tell someone who'd never watched AEW at all to watch Collision. I think.
Because you probably know who CM Punk is. Like it's a little bit like easier to digest because it's not like here's like 6 luchadors doing fucking gymnastics like from flying for like 15 minutes. It's like here is, like the first match on the card was Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. Like, you don't need to know who these guys are. It's like, look, there's a little guy, there's a big guy. Little guy's got to fight the big guy, and he's got to try and overcome him. There you go, nice and easy.
I think they do a really good job of kind of like having a specific thing they want like that week's show to run like to center around. And like they have like this was obviously it's the tournament at the moment. That's the big thing that's going on with the show. So the opening promo was the 4 guys left in the tournament: Joe Punk, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs. All kind of little promo.
I think that's great. I love that. I think it's brilliant.
And that type of thing they just don't get the time to do on Dynamite because it's so like densely packed with other stuff.
Yeah, and then I think the fact that Punk came out and cut that promo and basically detailed his feud with Joe.
It's like a previously on, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was the perfect thing for people who weren't really familiar with Samoa Joe and CM Punk's history to then instantly go, okay, yeah.
And it's just so happened they've got the whole tape library there as well, so they can show all the clips, which was excellent. And
then I thought the fact that they had Punk do that promo and then shown the video package straight after, it was really well done.
Yeah.
But I've been really enjoying Collision. I think it's had its ups and downs for sure, but I think largely it's been really good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think just this week, I think I just preferred Rampage to Collision.
Yeah, that's fine.
You say that, so, like, we'll get into the matches here. So first of all, Hobbs versus Starks. Really enjoyed this. This was excellent. I mean, these guys are always money, aren't they, when they wrestle each other?
Big shout out to Hobbs' Owen Hart thing with.
Yeah, that was excellent. I mean, the drip
in
this match was off the scale. But yeah, so QT tries to interfere, doesn't it, at the end? Then he actually ends up costing Hobbs. He hits a spine buster. QT's on the apron, and the referee won't count the pin until he gets down, and he doesn't. And then as like Hobbs like tries to tell him to move, he turns around, and Stark just rips him in half with a spear. It was excellent.
Yeah, and Starks didn't really have an answer to anything, did he? Until that point, like every time you like thought, oh yeah, here we go, Stark's getting a foothold, like QT would distract them and stuff like that. And it was just one too many like kind of interference from QT, which cost Hobbs in the end because Aubrey was like onto it.
Yeah. It was almost like QT like lost it for Hobbs because Hobbs had it won like quite easily probably, and then QT tried to do it too much and like got in the way. And then afterwards, as we called it a few weeks ago, Hobbs has had enough of QT's shit, so he just fucking murders him or tries to murder him. And
Aaron Solo died for his sins.
Yeah, Harley saves him, and then he just eats Aaron Solo's soul instead, which is fine. So
I assume we're getting face Hobbs versus like Johnny TV now.
Johnny TV, yeah. That's fine. Throw face Hobbs in a tag team with Wardlow and let them fight Brian Cage and Big Bill, and then I'll just die happiness. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Next up,
we then got a Miro promo.
Miro, yeah. It's cutting these same promos. He's doing these promos for like a year, man. Something's got to happen.
Yeah.
Well, he said there's a war coming as the one we've all been waiting for. Now,
but then
that to me made me think he was teasing blood and guts.
But you can't just say that and then do nothing like you did last time. So I don't know.
Unless they have like just like show up in heaven and like game over God next week.
Have a fight God like Vince did.
Have a match with Jesus.
Yeah. Next up, we had Julia Hart versus Bambi Hall. It was nice to see Julia around in it. She won quite confidently.
Crime from Julia.
Yeah, that submission's so good.
Yeah,
I love that.
Brody King had some weapons grade drip as well with that suit.
Yeah, Brody King looks so good like all the time. I love him. I just want to stand near him and just.
He's great, isn't he?
I just want to bathe in his like sort of presence. Oh
yeah.
The man does things.
That really, really good Malachi Black vignette.
Oh, yeah. It was fantastic.
Where he was like sat in the throne and he took his mask off and was like, "This is why I have to hide behind the mask." He had like the whole like paint on his face and all that.
The corruption.
Yeah, I like the fact as well that you could only see like the black half of his face, so it literally you could just see like his eye and his mouth moving in like the shadows. It was fucking awesome. Really well shot.
Andrade cut a good promo as well though. I liked it. So he said like, "Yeah, I don't hide behind my mask." He said it's a symbol of like my family, my culture, my people.
I am really looking forward if they do a singles match of this, because
Yeah.
It
the one they
feels
had in
this.
NXT was good, wasn't it?
I mean, this. I was supposed to. This feels very NXT, doesn't it? This is Malachi Black being like, I'm gonna show you the best version. I'm gonna make you the best version of yourself. I'm gonna show you what your failings are, and I'm gonna help you improve as a person by kicking you very hard in the face.
Which is what you
I,
want.
I'd be intrigued to see if, like, because Andrade's been very distant from LFI, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, since
So
he's
I'd
been
be
back,
intrigued.
he's not had anything with Rush or anyone like that.
Or Jose.
Well, Roosh is off being a dad at the moment.
Yeah.
He's just getting like a crib made with like TV cables underneath it, so the baby can just like
The bones of his enemy.
what the baby can learn.
Balls, horns, and cables.
Right, next up then, possibly my match of the week, I think.
This was fucking unreal.
FTR
Yeah, it was.
versus Bullet Club Gold. Bang Bang Gang.
I think
Do you-
this should have just been and I understand why they do it, but I think this should have just been a
Just for the
title
titles.
match. Yeah, straight away.
But they have to like sort of, because there's a tournament, I think they sort of have to like qualify why they were entitled to the title shot. I understand why they did it, because like you have to like have a reason in storyline, don't you? Why like Bullet Club get a title shot?
I think I'm more excited for the fact that as a result of this, we're getting a 2 out of 3 falls match next week. Because FTR and 2 out of 3 falls matches is just like, it hits different.
Yeah, this felt like the tag division waking up for the first time in a few months. I think the tag division's been on a bit of a sort of
Stagnation.
low boil. Yeah.
Tell you what, Juice had his fucking working boots on here, didn't he? He's
Yeah.
jumping all
I
over
said,
the fucking place.
I put on Discord, so Juice has wrestled over 90 minutes of wrestling since Collision started. He's been the actual workhorse of Collision. Has been Juice Robinson.
That's
I love
because
Juice
he's
Robinson.
well rested.
He's well rested. He's got his 8 hours, mate. You know,
That is 8 hours. There's no bags under those eyes. But yeah, this is awesome. The amount of like times Juice Robinson broke up a pin from like seemingly from nowhere,
Yeah.
where he just like just
Yeah.
appear.
I also love Jay White's just commitment to looking like a fucking goblin when he's wrestling.
He's a rat man.
Like when he's like in the middle of the
Like
ring,
when
and
he's
he's
frothing at the mouth.
like just cut, like dripping spit out of his mouth, and he looks like you know his hair's all over the place. Like a lot of wrestlers are concerned about how they look on TV, and Jay White's like, no, I should look like shit. I'm in a fight here. Like I should look horrible.
Yeah.
Well, he's a heel as well. He's like a fucking slime ball.
Literally the greasiest man.
But Juice got the pin as well.
He did from hitting Pulp Friction.
Yeah. Which was
Yeah,
lovely.
I like the fact as well that like Jay White just did this. I feel like this is the first time we really got to see what Jay White's capable of in an AEW ring,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of the time he's like been in like sort of like multi-man tag matches where he's having to kind of like allow other people to do stuff as well. Whereas for this, it was just him and Juice, but Jay was doing like a lot of the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And especially the stuff on the outsides as well.
Yeah.
Juice was very much the kind of save guy in this match, and Jay was like the guy who was like getting all the heat and like
But then at
doing
the
all
end,
that.
Jay like blocked Cash coming back in to break the pin up,
Did
which was excellent. It was so good. It was like it was too. I mean, I've been a little bit up and down on FTR as of late. I don't think they're firing on all cylinders like compared to where they were last year.
this was like the most they felt like FTR since they've come back.
Yeah.
Those chops that Cash was given to Jay White were evil.
Yeah, but it really feels like Bullet Club Gold are really drawing the best out of them, which is good. When a team can bring that out of FDR, you know you're in for a good time. Like you say, Jay, I'm really looking forward to the match next week. Another 2 out of 3 falls. Yeah, it's going to be
Switchblade era,
Gonna be naughty. Please do it. Please put the belts on.
Bang Bang Gang era.
I would love that.
Next up, I mean, Scorpio Sky versus Action Andretti kind of got sent out to die, didn't it?
It was a match that happened. And you know what?
Scorpio
it was really
looked really
great
good,
seeing
though.
Scorpio back.
Yeah.
It's just two guys who aren't the most charismatic
Yeah.
going into a match where they can do lots of exciting stuff, but it was just like a veteran beating a young up and comer and then giving them respect. It just felt like it was there just to kind of like cool the crowd down for when Joe and Punk happened after.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Joe and Punk, we'll move straight onto that.
I thought this was excellent.
I mean, I don't know quite what people were expecting from this, given that both these guys are now in their 40s and they haven't wrestled for like 18 years.
I thought this was really good. I thought because of the fact that obviously they're a lot older than they were when they first went at it. They were a lot more kind of cagey about some of the stuff they were doing.
It felt a lot more. It felt a lot more mental, didn't it? Like they were like mentally like competing against each other. It was a lot of feeling each other out. We got that Joe spot where he just walks away from the top rope move, which was excellent. I love that.
Yeah.
Like you say, one thing they did really well. They laid a lot of history into it from the previous matches.
There was a lot of stuff.
Chopping Punk straight away, and Punk immediately bleeding from the mouth.
yeah, that was great.
Maybe
I'm on page. Got some of Joe's cookies that week. But yeah, like even with like where obviously they were going for some of the more kind of like signature things, like Joe went to do the kick against the barricade where Punk was sat in the chair, and Punk got like managed to move last minute, and Joe just about stopped himself from like killing a fan. And then obviously all of Punk's like signature things that he went for, Joe kept reversing into the Kikina clutch.
Yeah.
It made Joe feel really dangerous throughout the match. I thought, as I say, like it wasn't close to what they'd previously done, but it was never going to be.
No, it's never going to be because like they were like you say, it's only 20 years later, you know. But
it told a magnificent story, I thought.
Yeah, there were some very cool moments as well. Like when Punk did get Joe up for GTS, like he got him on his shoulders, which I didn't think he was going to be able to do. He couldn't quite land the move. Then Punk, like there was that bit where Joe slipped off his back, and then Punk went like off the ropes, and then Joe hit that snap power slam.
Yeah,
which was like vintage Joe. That's like classic Samoa Joe. Love that. But yeah, it was great. And even when Punk got the win, it wasn't with a GTS. He just rolled him up. He couldn't.
Yeah. And Joe was fuming.
He realized Joe was like pretty much in tunnel vision, going for the Kikina clutch to choke him out. So he just reversed it and like dropped out of it, reversed it into a quick roll up and got the win. I as I say, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was awesome. Both guys we know can go. Samoa Joe's someone I wish we saw more of, because even though he's like a champion, we don't really see much of him. Just every now and again.
King of television, mate. You don't need to. It's fine.
King of television. Too busy dancing around dressed as a clown.
Being the Island Boys.
And the Island Boys, yeah.
Sheppy Zach.
Sheppy Zach's in danger.
One thing I really liked afterwards as well, so it looks like Joe's going to shake Punk's hand, and then he just Kikina clutches the shit out of him.
The fucking pop that got was amazing.
So good.
But then obviously FDR come out to sort of break it up, and then Starks comes out as well, and obviously Starks and Punk have been like best mates, but now obviously they're opponents next week, so they kind of like had a little awkward like sort of stare down.
Yeah. Well, he did.
Ricky had like pure second thoughts, didn't he, about coming to help him?
Yeah, it's interesting because, as I've been saying for weeks now, I think Punk's going to turn on Ricky in the final.
Or after the final. I think Punk's going to win. I think Punk has to win if he's going to be moving on to challenge MJF at some point. I think he can't lose a match here.
Unless we have Jay White and Punk for Punk's imaginary belt.
Jay White steals Punk's goodie bag.
I'd like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Punk can lose it, like the Owen, but then from the back of the heel turn, then become like go after MJF, like basically saying, look, I'm demanding what's mine, sort of thing. And there are ways they can do it quite easily. Yeah. I think Ricky absolutely deserves to win the tournament. I think
it'd be a huge show of faith in him, wouldn't it? I think it'd make more sense long term to put on someone who's as up and coming as Ricky is.
Yeah, and also Punk doesn't lose that often, so when he does lose to a Ricky Starks, it means a fucking hell of a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he lost to Moxley in like 5 seconds, mate. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. He's never seen Rocky. What's he done about that? But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one to call. Like there's 3 ways they can go with it, and I think only one of them will have me like liking Punk after. Also, there's 4 ways. There's Punk wins clean. They shake hands after. Starks wins clean. They shake hands after. Starks wins. Punk turns heel on him, or Punk wins clean, and that's about it. And there's not
Or Punk turns heel to win.
Punk turns heel to win, I suppose, as well. Yeah, there's that.
Hits him with the cup.
But yeah, I really hope Ricky wins. He's totally earned it. He's had a fucking awesome year, and he's been bundled with so much shit at times.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Jericho verse.
He escaped the Jericho verse, man. That
I beat Jericho clean twice.
Yeah.
Like
even Eddie Kingston couldn't do
that. That's a sign that they've got a lot of faith in him. But I think like giving him the Owens probably like what's going to strap the rocket to him for me.
Yeah.
Well, legitimize him.
It feels like it could be the start for him, couldn't it? If they do it, like this could be like his like real arrival if he gets his win here, and they sort of he can take off from here.
You could even get like a cheeky like. I'm not necessarily like saying it will happen, but we could even get like an Adam Cole versus Ricky Starks match after the fact.
Yeah,
well.
Yeah. Just have Ricky and like Jay White feud. Have Ricky get his win back over Jay White. Because
I hate that they dropped the ball with that. Like
he's come close so many times, and now it's like, oh yeah, Jay White's like more focused on FTR and Punk than he is on Ricky.
I think we've got to keep Jay White real strong though. I've got this mad theory, right? And I'm not going to go into too much fantasy booking. I've got this mad theory that if Eddie Kingston, in my heart of hearts, if Eddie Kingston beats MJF, then Jay White takes the belt of Eddie Kingston as revenge for exiling him from Japan.
I'd like that.
Anyway, that's it for Dynamite and AEW and everything. We will call it quits in a second. Just one news story we want to talk about. It was literally broke just before we start recording this podcast, and it's sent to everyone. Jeff Hardy's going to be in GCW.
Yeah.
And not long after that, Effie called out Willow.
Yeah.
As in
what?
As in not Willow Nightingale, as in Willow, Jeff Hardy's alter ego.
Oh my god.
And Ali Catch said she wants Bussy versus the Hardys.
I love that.
I said to you, Tasty, what I want, and that's Los Maquizos versus the Hardys.
Yes, please. That would be lovely.
Give me what I want.
I mean, it's going to be, who else is wrestling? Have they announced any matches for this card yet?
I'm just trying to get it up now. There it is.
Because I know what they're probably going to do. Is just have Jeff versus Joey Janela.
Oh, fuck me. This card's like already quite good. No. Commander versus Joey Janela.
Leo Rush versus Mike Bailey.
Leo Rush versus Mike Bailey. Nick Gage. It'll probably be Jeff versus Blake Christian, I'd imagine.
Okay, well, hear me out.
Unless they announce Matt Hardy.
Hear me out. Jeff versus Gringo Loco.
Yes, please. That'd be fun.
So that's if anyone just wondering what we're talking about, GCW have an event.
Oh, it's just said then. It says that like he's appearing in concert, but he won't be wrestling.
No, he will. It says immediately following Jeff's appearance and the conclusion of GCW's event, he will take the stage at Harpo's for a live concert performance. This concert is a separate admission.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because underneath it says notes, Jeff will be appearing in person on the show, but he's not wrestling.
Oh shit, okay. There we go. Well, that's a thing, isn't it?
Maybe I can set something up for further down the line, though.
Possibly, yeah. What's he going to do then? Wow, that's got me intrigued. Which is probably what they were going for.
Probably just set up a.
Jeff won't be wrestling, but Willow might.
Yeah, Effie versus Willow.
Willow versus Eminem. Book it.
The world isn't ready for him. Willow versus Dark Angel.
Willow's going to fuck with a different boy.
Get fucking Jeff Hardy at emo fight.
Another thing that's a little bit interesting is Jordan Oliver's teased about signing for AEW.
Well, he said, but basically, he said because obviously Nick Wayne's like on his way.
I will potentially sign with AEW to team with Nick Wayne, but I'm not in a rush. So essentially, if the offer comes in, let us have it.
So
and also, he said that
So what you're saying is Jordan Oliver's going to feud with Rush.
Jordan Oliver has said that 2 matches he wants to have is East West Express versus the Young Bucks and East West Express versus Golden Lovers.
Yes, please.
And
As soon as something we don't.
he said, that seems like my best path to get it right now, but I love the indies.
Not Lucha Bros, no.
No.
Well, I mean, I guess like they've already been crimed by one set of crazy bastards from Mexico, as in Los Mestizo's.
Yeah, true.
Don't need to crime them again. There was as well, if you've got time, an interesting bit of news coming out of MLW.
No, go on then.
I know, right? So I'm just trying to find the results for it now because I've lost the thing because I closed it by mistake.
What happened with
essentially Alexander Hammerstone, who's been champion for like an obscene amount of time, and it was like something like 660 days, dropped his title this week to Alex Kane.
Oh, right, okay.
Which, yeah, big news for that, because it means that Alexander Hammerstone might be on his way out of MLW, might not.
Oh,
who knows?
Yeah.
You can actually watch that. Alexander Hammerstone as well, I think, by the sound of things, had Don King in his corner. Not Alexander Hammerstone. Alex Kane, sorry.
I saw that. That was random, wasn't it? Yeah, fucking like 80-year-old Don King turning up.
Yeah. But yeah, it's essentially there's potential that Alex Hammerstone, there's been talk that his contract was coming up soon anyway. He might end up going to AEW or WWE. But yeah, I might, looking at the card, I might actually check that show if it's on Fight Plus.
What, the MLW one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they also had Jacob Fatu versus Calvin Tankman.
Oh, nice. That's big, lads.
Yeah. Hot Sauce Tracy Williams versus Timothy Thatcher. And the Call-In, which is the team of Akira and Ricky Shane Page versus the Samoan SWAT team.
Ooh, okay.
So,
yeah, you've got my attention.
There's quite a lot of hosses on there. Mance Warner's on there doing a country whipping match as well, whatever that is.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Right, that's going to do it for us then. We'll be back next week to let you know how the G1's getting on, how good our predictions are all looking, and all the other wrestling bits and bobs, I think. Well, yeah. There's no live wrestling this week, is there? We're not going to anything.
TNT's on Friday.
TNT.
Oh, yes, that's the one. That is Gangrel. Yeah.
Thrill Kill, G-Money versus Gangrel. There's the deathmatch tournament.
Crowley versus Session Moth.
Crowley versus Session Moth. I can't remember what the matches are.
We've got Emerson James versus Joey Janela. Got
isn't Big Fucking Joe's got an open challenge, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, yeah.
We've also got Clint in that as well. Isn't he in the Pits of Pain match?
I think so, yeah. It's his first match since he lost the title, which is interesting.
Oh, and Michael Caden versus Alton Thorne.
Oh,
isn't it?
That boy.
Yeah.
Sound. Right. Well, there's that coming up. Yeah, we'll see you all next week then.
You know what? Sopro literally just announced us over on Twitter.
Go on.
What?
Man like the Reese versus Cole Radrick.
Oof.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Cole Radrick's he's like in October. He's there, like Cole's in the UK, then, isn't he? Yeah, he just
22nd of October, the second race.
I have to go and check
that
out.
Is he just here from like GCW weekend through?
I think he's just sort of staying. No, he's flying back. He's going back October, November.
October the 20th to November the 20th, based in London.
Yeah.
Okay.
So look forward to that. Right, we'll see you all next week for some more wrestling action. Thank you all for listening, and yeah, goodbye.
Bye.
Hello, yes, Danhausen here. Danhausen has been summoned. You must love this podcast, Hausen, the Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Hausen.